Alright guys, well it's been a minute. I'm going to be getting back to some Civic content shortly. We've got so much going on here around the shop with the electric Z up there on the lift, Rick's Porsche, the ice cream van, and the Subaru coming back from paint that I haven't had a whole lot of time to be working on the Honda. But some parts have started trickling in, and this is one of those parts that I've been waiting for, and I really wanted to take a few minutes and show you guys and kind of give you some of the direction on the car, and it might help explain why we've done some of the things we've done on the Civic to this point. No guys, I didn't order a TV. No. But there's something really special in here, and that might tell you what it is. But I'm gonna open it up, show you guys what it is, and talk a little bit about it. Wow guys, I've been wanting to do a carbon fiber roof on one of my projects for a really long time. I remember way back in the day when I used to work for Falcon Tire, there's a shop out in North Carolina that built Von Gitten's Mustangs for us called Autosport Dynamics, and they had a custom composite roof that they used to build for all of Von's Mustangs. I happened to be out there when they were putting on one of the composite roofs years and years and years ago. The process always, it's very simple, but I don't know why, but it always just stuck in the back of my head of how cool the process of doing it was and how much benefit there is to actually removing the weight from above your head in a vehicle. So you want to get the center of gravity of the vehicle as low as possible, so by replacing steel with carbon adds a lot of benefit. And so this is some project that I always wanted to tackle. I'm super excited about this. So I was gonna order a panel from Japan. Finding a Civic EK carbon fiber roof in the US is not very simple to do. But I did find a company based on the West Coast that makes this panel, and it's really beautiful. Not only on the outside, the weave is damn near perfect throughout. Look at the luster. I mean, you can see the ceiling. And the bottom is just as pretty as the top. I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the video, but there's actually like honeycomb in the background. I'm assuming it has a sandwich, something in there for strength. We're actually gonna drill out the factory roof panel off the Civic. Now a couple of guys asked, well, how did Kyle finish weld up here? Like, there's no way for him to get up in there to finish all the welds. Well guys, we knew we were gonna be putting this carbon fiber roof on, so what we're gonna do is we have to remove this glue, the rest of this glue right here. And there's gonna be a bunch of spot welds. Actually, you can see them right here. Spot weld, spot weld. I'll drill all those out, and then they also get drilled out all along the weather rail here. This is basically like the rain gutter. On the other side as well, and then across the back, underneath the hatch. Once the metal roof is off, we'll panel bond the carbon fiber roof back on. And I went ahead and ordered up from our friends at 3M a bunch of this panel bonding adhesive. This is the 8115, and I will just be using a cordless drill with a basically a spot weld drill bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because there's probably 100 or more spot welds. This is gonna be a time-consuming process, but I think I'll enjoy it. All right, well that went a little quicker than I anticipated. So I got the whole front edge drilled out. And so basically now I can just take a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar or something and just kind of pop it all loose. I can already see the panels are separated here, right here. So now I just need to zip down these sides. The roof is now basically ready to come out. As you can see, all of the welds have been removed. You gotta be really careful when you do this because it's really sharp. I highly recommend a pair of leather gloves. That way you don't screw yourself up. But as you can see, she's ready to come off, boys. So I grabbed the camera. We'll go ahead and lift this thing off of here. Wow, this thing is way heavier than I thought. So, the roof is off. Pretty good. It weighs a lot. I'm surprised actually how much this thing.
How much is the carbon work in that?
Like nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So I can actually sit this on there right now. Yeah, if you want to put it on.
I do. I want to. Oh. Dude, this is like if we were on a windy day, I'd be scared it would get like put in the wind.
As it matches the hood and everything. I honestly have, this is like probably like the mod I've wanted to do the most on any project car I've ever done. That's why I was pretty adamant about doing it on this one. But now's the fun part, actually installing it.
One eternity later.
But we're back, and Rickie and I are still fiddling with the roof. Now, what's cool about this carbon roof is it comes complete. So what I mean by that is it has all the flanging to mount it where the windshield lays through the drip rail here, and then it's actually complete all the way back where the molding clips on in the back. But the problem we're having is this doesn't want to lay really good. The part is really nice, but I think we're getting a little bit of, just from chassis variation and stuff like that, or I'm not sure exactly, but we're getting a little bit of tension in here, which is forcing the roof up a little bit. This side's actually really good. This side's a little bit worse. Not worse, I guess, but you can see the gap here. What Rickie and I are thinking is if we cut off this flange here that's meant for the weather stripping, we might be able to relieve some of the tension that's creating this gap here. It is a little nerve-wracking cutting on this because it's an expensive part and it's absolutely gorgeous. But we think this is probably what needs to happen in order to get this to fit our specific application.
So the line that I suggested to cut, that didn't work. Whatever.
Oh, I thought you were gonna take
No!
the line that you said you should cut. We didn't.
Because he wanted to cut the top line, the one up here. And I'm like, nah, man, that's too high. This is our problem. But he was right. It is the one on top. So we're gonna recut again.
Once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah, you're all right. You're full of nuts today.
Okay, well, our idea to trim off that flange was actually adequate, but you can still see when Rickie puts weight on this, it still wants to come down just a little bit. So now that we've gotten rid of that area, we don't have to get over this hump anymore, and that was what was hanging us up. And one thing that I should point out is that this actually sandwiches between the hatch mount.
Yep.
The hatch mount holes are here, so we'll have to make those holes after we panel bond it. We'll drill from the bottom up,
yeah.
And then the hatch can go back on, but this is adding more structure to the roof, which is awesome. Now there is one last thing we need to do before we can put the roof panel to rest, and that is we need to weld in some bracing back here.
Yep.
I did remove some material from this area to clear up inside our panel, so we're gonna put in some braces such as these just to keep this sturdy.
right, so while Mickey's making the brace for the hatch, I actually went out and I cleaned up the places that we're gonna have to be welding on. So that is prep for welding. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get the welder ready. Ain't that right, Mickey?
Yeah, get that welder ready. I'm gonna see if this thing actually fits.
I'm about ready to start welding. Mickey already has one plate done. He's working on the second one, and then we're just literally gonna mirror it to do the third plate. And we are gonna be using our Lincoln welder as soon as Mickey's butt get out of the way. I'm not showing your butt shaking. Ooh. So I want to take a quick second to talk about this welder. If anybody's interested, this welder is really sick. It's super easy to use. We've been using a bunch of different welders in this shop, and this one is by far the best one. This one can literally weld really thin metals, and you can do a full weld across, or you can do 1-inch intervals. And the one that we're currently using is the Power Meg 210 MP. Let me give you guys a quick update. We did some welding already, and we are still trying to get used to the settings from this machine. So right now our current setting is 95 and 14 volts. And when you go over it, like, it tells you what they know for a fact is not gonna work. So somewhere in this range it should be okay to weld, depending on your metal. But since we have such a thick metal on one side and such thin one on the other side, that's the setting that works for us right now. It took me a few tries at the bottom to freaking get the right setting, but I finally got it, and now all I gotta do is just keep welding.
Now that we've got the roof situation sorted out, and now we're waiting to put the panel on till after the paint shop has the car, we went ahead and tossed the hatch back on, so that's looking nice. And now we switched our focus to the pedal assembly, which is gonna go here. And you guys probably remember we have this nice Wilwood setup that we're gonna be putting in, which is something that I've always wanted to put in a car that I've built. Rickie and I are gonna tackle it. But we need to decide where we want to put these pedals. Now these are dual master brake, single master clutch, nice Wilwood, I guess aluminum pedals, and
yeah,
steel.
This is steel, this is aluminum.
Cast steel bracketry. So what Rickie did was he threw a little bit of grease on the back of the studs. I'm gonna go ahead and sit in the car and push those against the back of the firewall and leave a little grease print. That way we can drill the holes out. And then we'll go back, because we're gonna have to drill a massive hole this size in the firewall. So those 6 holes will go away when we drill that hole out, but at least we know where it's gonna go, and we can sort out how we wanna make a nice flat panel. All right, well, as I was expecting or anticipating, because I've had run-ins with these types of pedals before, the problem is our steering shaft is in the way. of getting the pedals further over. As you can see, if you're sitting in the driver's seat, the pedals are sitting a little bit off to the left, a little bit further. Now, if you look down here, this thing right here, that's our old dead pedal. So that would have been to the left of any clutch pedal that was in this car. The factory does is they actually take a bend off of this pedal and bring the brake pedal over underneath the steering shaft. And then usually your gas pedal's kicked a little bit inward as well. So with this setup, we're sort of handicapping ourselves. If we were to have retained the factory stuff, this would have been a lot easier, but if we wanted the easy route, you guys probably wouldn't be watching. So we're gonna get to work and figure out how we make this work. This isn't where the plate's gonna go, guys. This is just for mock-up. The plate actually goes on the inside of the firewall, this part of the plate, and then the trim ring goes on the outside. But we've got it nice and square. We've got room for our master cylinders, clearance between the, so we've got room between here and there for our master cylinders, which is good. One thing that Rickie and I realized is that we forgot that the Wilwood pedals actually have adjustment on them. So our pedal has 4 holes drilled in it. So half of this pedal can be centered, and we're gonna get this extra inch and a half of distance shifted off to the center of underneath the steering column. So unless it gets extreme, we won't have to cut and move the pedal arm assembly over. We can just offset everything utilizing the pedal set that came with the Wilwood deal. And then we're gonna cheat the gas pedal over a little bit to the left, which we knew we were gonna do anyway because the tunnel actually is much bigger than what was originally in the car. So Rickie has a plan to build a plate, a thick gauge plate that's gonna go on there and house all this stuff. Got our firewall template traced on carbon or cardboard paper, so we're doing a little bit of CAD here, cardboard aided design, and we don't have one of those fancy plasma tables, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to hand cut this out. So I've traced it on 14 gauge material, which is what that means there. Some of you guys may think that we're only mounting it to the firewall, but there's also 4 bolt holes that are on top of the pedal assembly here. This flips down once it's in the car, and these 4 holes are used. So we'll build brackets off of our dash bar from our roll cage to shore that up and make sure that there's no play. This Eastwood mini metal saw is quickly becoming one of my favorite tools to have around the shop. It's basically a circular saw for metal. Alright, fast forward a little bit. I should probably take that sticker off my shirt. I caught my shirt on fire, guys. That's why I'm wearing a different shirt. And it has an L on it. If you were wondering, I wear a size L.
Oh, that's for loser.
No, it's not for loser, Rickie. I can't even get it off.
You know what that means?
No. What?
It means you have no skills and you're a loser!
While I've been finishing up our panel for the firewall, Rickie showed up and he started getting ready to mount our ODB Welding Works corner panel, which basically is made to clean up the holes and side panels. We've already welded this one in over here, as you can see, and also the strut tower provisions as well from OBD, and these nice little plates down here that clean up the bottom of the engine bay. So not smoothing the bay out, but we're cleaning it up, I guess is the best way to put it. We also welded in the OBD Welding Works panels over here as well to fill the holes that we're no longer using. So with our new firewall plate in place, I think we'll be in good shape, and Rickie's gonna put that one last piece over in the corner, and we should be solid. So I gotta get the pedal box mount in now. Rickie's gonna button that up and we'll weld this in.
Mickey just got done making this magical piece. We put the Wilwood attachment for the brakes cylinders in the clutch cylinder and get to weld it. Well, that was productive last 45 minutes to an hour. We went ahead and finished off the corner up here and got that all sealed up. So we also put in the master cylinders, the clutch master, and the 2 brake master cylinders. These are the remote mounts. We just put those on for covers for now. We do have reservoir bottles for all those. That said, the pedals are in. RX-7 Honda key.
Yeah, but it says Mickey on the other side, so. Maybe we need to get a Honda one. I don't know.
Maybe.
Freak one. Do you want to show them the pedals real quick before you do that?
Yeah.
They look sick!
Check that out,
So
guys.
the pedals are in. They're not hooked up or anything. They're just floating in here. We've got them about an inch higher than we probably would have liked them, but we do plan on putting a heel plate in here.
Yep.
So their actually height is perfect. And now we just need to get our throttle pedal in stock, because we don't even have it yet.
Right.
We're going to be using an S2000 throttle pedal. But before we move on to all that crap, we need to remove some things. We need to get rid of this bracket. This is the old brake pedal bracket from the factory pedals. We need to get that out of the way because it is making contact with our electric power steering motor. And then we need to come up with some provisions to mount the top of this pedal mount. So by getting that out of the way, we can drop the steering rack, which is what Rickie's going to do real quick, and then we'll figure out what we need to do to get this mounted to the bulkhead. All right, the old brake pedal support bracket is out. Rickie's over here making standoffs for the pedal assembly to mount to the firewall.
She's hot.
Or I guess to the bottom of the bulkhead.
Right.
What he's doing is actually welding a nut on the end of this so that we can just run a through bolt through the pedal into the bottom of this stud. And then this side will get welded to the bottom of the bulkhead. One other thing I actually did this a couple weeks ago. I actually installed our new alternator and figured out that I could actually use a Honda Odyssey alternator. So I sourced one of those, as you guys can see here, and I made a rod that has a heim on each end, which acts as our tensioner for our alternator. As we spin this, it goes further away, and what that will do is put tension on the belt system. because we have to get rid of this. This used to be our old belt tension right here, but our throttle body comes out in the same location. So you can see the yellow paint on here is pretty much where it's going to be cut. All I had to do was make this bracket here that bolts to the old engine mount location with a stud on this one so that we could have our pickup point for the rod. And I had to make a bracket down here for it to pivot on. Pretty happy with the way that turned out. It kind of goes away. You don't really even notice it there. That one's not quite as pretty, but we will make it a little nicer and get some paint on it once we start working on the final assembly stuff. So yeah, just wanted to give you an update on that.
Got done filling up those 2 rods that are holding the pedal assembly. Between the 2 rods that I just welded that are holding the pedal assembly and the back plate that's in the firewall, this thing is super steady. I actually put my foot on the whole assembly and I try to push it out while Mickey checked the other side of the firewall, and it didn't move at all.
It doesn't budge. Why don't you show us what you did, bud?
So if you guys see this rod right here, that's where I welded the nut right over here, and then here's the bolt, and then that's where I welded on top of the wall. Same thing here.
Really sturdy. That'll do.
Yeah, it's not moving. It's not going anywhere.
Well, that project is ticked off our list. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. It has been a couple weeks coming. We know that. We've got a lot of stuff going on around here, and we appreciate you guys' patience with all of the project juggling that Rickie and myself and Evan are doing. Trust me, guys, we're going full speed ahead, and I think I'm pretty excited to be back on the Honda. I don't know about Rickie, but this car, just so you guys know, we're not cutting corners. We're trying to fabricate and push our boundaries as much as we can with this. We're not just grabbing off the shelf stuff and slapping it on. It's basically everything we're putting on this car is custom made for this car. So bear with us while we test our skills and learn a thing or two as we go, and hopefully you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for watching the channel. We appreciate those subscriptions. We appreciate all the comments. And if you guys want to see the next video on this freak Civic, go ahead and turn those notifications on, guys. We love you. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.